Putin broke the agreement with Wagner to save his life, said the head of British intelligence in a rare speech. It was a rare moment when the Kremlin, visible to all, corresponded to reality behind closed doors. This is what the head of British intelligence thinks, who in a rare speech in Prague gave the first confirmation of Western intelligence that the head of the private military group Wagner Yevgeny Prigozhin really made a deal with Putin to stop his offensive on Moscow during the failed uprising on June 24. And it seems that he was welcomed in the Kremlin to meet with Putin a few days later. The head of British intelligence, known as C, also expressed some bewilderment about the upheavals around the Kremlin that weekend and the speed with which loyalty was rejected and returned. If you look at Putin's behavior that day, said Richard Moore from June 24, Prigozhin, I think, started breakfast as a traitor. He was pardoned for dinner and invited for tea a few days later. So there are some things, and even the head of MI6 thinks it's a bit difficult to try to interpret in terms of who's inside and who's not. Moore also gave a rare indication of what remains of Prigozhin's health and whereabouts, whose usually obscene and frequent audio messages published on Telegram recently stopped. When asked by CNN if Prigozhin was alive and well, Moore replied that the Wagner leader was still floating around as his agency understands it. Western intelligence agencies refrain from commenting on the failed mutiny for fear of creating a false basis for Russia's usual justification for internal dissent, that it is organized and fueled by Western spies. Nevertheless, speaking on camera gave Moore an opportunity to convey with facial expression how shocking Putin's weakness was that weekend. He really didn't resist Prigozhin, Moore said. He made a deal to save his life by taking advantage of the good services of the leader of Belarus, he said, referring to the intervention of Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, who made a deal. So even I can't look into Putin's head, he added. He must have realized, I'm sure, that something is deeply rotten in the Danish kingdom, quoting Hamlet, and he had to break this deal. Moore added that it is difficult to make firm judgments about the fate of Wagner itself as a group of mercenaries, but they seemingly are not engaged in Ukraine, and that it seems that their elements are in Belarus. The place for Moore's performance was chosen by the city of Prague, which he called the last European capital where Russian tanks entered before Ukraine. He began with an unusually open appeal to Russians, quietly shocked by the sight of their armed forces wiping Ukrainian cities off the face of the earth, driving innocent families out of their homes and abducting thousands of children to spy for the United Kingdom. I invite them to do what others have already done over the past 18 months and join us. Their secrets will always be safe with us and together we will work to end the bloodshed. It was an unusually public appeal that matched the upside-down global geopolitics created by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, while Moore claimed that China is absolutely involved in the invasion because of its constant support for the Kremlin leader. He added that Iran's support for Russia has caused a split among its highest-ranking officials. Iran is clearly trying to make as much money as possible from this situation, he said. And while Iran is selling drones in particular that usually hit civilian targets, he added, he will sell everything he can save and thinks he can get away with it.